The best dating advice I've ever been given is the following. Go into all of your interactions with the mindset of F it, whatever happens, happens. Let me explain. Most guys, when they go out, they have a certain goal in mind, to get laid or find a girlfriend. Having that goal will screw up your whole night out because you will subconsciously impose that goal onto every girl that you interact with during your evening. As a person, you can only control yourself, you can't control others. Other people are going to do whatever the hell they were going to do anyway, and you can't change that. That's why having a goal that involves someone else is incredibly counterproductive. The girl will sense that you have an agenda, that you want something from her, and she will be right because you do. She'll have a subconscious aversion towards you as a result. That's why going out with the mindset of damn it, whatever happens, happens is incredibly liberating. You will be interacting with a ton of girls when you go out. 1. If any interaction ends in a hookup, date, etc., amazing. 2. If it ends in nothing but a friendly conversation, even better, because you can make new friends like that, take her phone number for later use to expand your social circle, and so on. Or even because having a friendly conversation is actually nice and enjoyable since we are all people and it's better than sitting home alone. 3. If your interaction ends up with a totally brutal rejection or she screams at you out loud, slaps you, and throws a drink at you, or whatever other incredibly, exaggeratedly bad thing that you can imagine happens, it's perfectly fine too. Because you will get a lot of experience out of that, gain more reference points to your interactions, realize what you did wrong and why she reacted like that, and get a chance to calibrate yourself for later. All your bad interactions will eventually make you better, that's how you learn. 4. If your interaction ends up with you getting killed, what the hell were you even doing? Snap out of it, get back to the real world. No one ever got killed trying to approach and talk to a girl, unless she was simultaneously in the embraces of a huge redneck with a shotgun called Bubba. Stop making up random outcomes or excuses not to talk to girls. You see, with this mindset, every interaction is great and every outcome is agreeable because you get something good out of all of them. And if you convince your mind that you actually do feel like damn it, whatever happens, happens, you will notice that you will never again be needy with girls and they will be that much more attracted to you. All of this is also called outcome independent. The hard part, of course, is convincing yourself to think like this in the first place. Another hugely impactful dating advice I've been given is the concept of being the chooser. This means that when you approach women you find attractive, you have to be thinking something along the lines of, you're hot, but are you a good person underneath all those amazing looks? Let's find out. The exterior is important, but the interior is what really makes or breaks it if you want a long-term relationship. And you can't find that out without approaching and talking to the girl and seeing what she's like. There's even an amusing joke that goes along with it. I found her to be the most attractive woman on the planet, until she opened her mouth. Incidentally, this applies to men as well, since there are many pretty boys out there with personalities not rivaling that of a doorknob. So if you go in with that mindset and try to figure out if that pretty girl is also a great person, you'll always be coming in from a position of power, and not from desperation. That is a very powerful mindset to learn and apply if you want to be super successful. Girls feel it when a guy has high standards and will not date just anyone because he's not desperate. It ties in closely to the concept of qualification. Unfortunately, this is too vast of a subject to explain adequately in a Quora answer. I could write for days about all these different and powerful mindsets that make guys extremely successful with women. Freaking yes or no. It is a simple concept that was made popular by one of my favorite writers in the dating realm, Mark Manson. In dating, we often find ourselves in this gray area where we don't know what to do anymore. Some examples. Your date is not texting back after what you thought was a great night. The colleague you asked to go watch a movie together tells you, sorry, I can't make it today, but let's do it another time. But she never says a word about it again. An interesting guy who said he'd call you but never does. The cute brunette that invited you to her party but didn't even talk to you when you were there. All of these examples show you ambiguous situations that, let's be honest, suck. This is where F yes or no comes into play. Why would you want to be with someone like that? Why would you want to be with someone who is obviously not excited to be with you? Why would you waste your time and sanity chasing after someone who clearly isn't as into you as you are into them? From now on, you should follow a simple rule. Only pursue romantic endeavors in which everything seems to flow naturally. Go for the lover who calls you in the middle of the night after your date because he couldn't stop thinking about you, as opposed to the guy who barely remembers who you are. Go for the colleague who immediately buys those tickets for Avatar 2 instead of the one who leaves you hanging in the Neverland between colleague and date. Go for the cute brunette who invites you to her party, welcomes you with open arms, and introduces you to everyone there. Life is short. Spend it with people who want to be with you. To everyone else, your answer is no. Here are some of the best dating advice. 1. Don't date just to have sex. Remember, you are dating a real person with feelings and emotions, not a sex object. Imagine the reverse. You're the girl and your date is a guy and vice versa. Be sensitive and realize the consequences of a relationship. One false move could hurt the person you are dating, and the consequences could be irreversible. 2. Be careful whom you're dating. Dating a person you don't love could result in negative consequences. Remember, the other person has an independent mind and freedom of thought. Some people do not have a mature mind like you. You could get into something from which you may never recover and regret it for the rest of your life. 3. Do not pretend. Be yourself. Dating is not a job interview, therefore don't be too serious. The best way to go on the first date is to dress up the way you always dress up under normal circumstances. Remember, the person you're dating will get to know you better with time and understand exactly who you are. Why not let them know exactly who you are now so that you cut the mystery of disguising yourself as someone you're not? If they like you like this, then they will like you always. 4. Don't get serious with a person before you know and understand them. This is old wisdom, which you don't have to be reminded of. Many people have fallen into the trap of marrying someone who is already married just because they overlooked or ignored this important advice. 5. Don't date simply because other people are dating. Be unique and let people chase you. The more people chase you, the more valuable you become, therefore the higher the price. Good things always go to the highest bidder. 6. The first date is a two-way interview to get facts. Dig out information and get to understand someone. Make the most of it. Cut the stories and ask all the relevant questions without picking a quarrel. Dig out the facts while paving way for the second date. On the second date, dig out more information, personal information. After all, this is potentially the person you may spend the rest of your life with. Make sure they fall under the criteria you are looking for. The third date should resolve most of the issues for you. By the fourth date, you will understand and even kiss the person. 7. When dating, compatibility is a must. Many relationships break up even before they start simply because the couples were not cut out from the same mango tree. 8. The secret of a good relationship is love and patience. Patience is also the key to good sex. People who are impatient in bed are usually bad lovers. Good sex is prepared psychologically ahead of the physical experience. People who do not understand this are usually brutal in bed and can cause psychological trauma to their partners. 9. Dating is the first step toward a long-term relationship. Therefore, don't waste much time on someone who doesn't immediately fit into this equation. Excuse yourself quickly if you notice something unusual. Be wise and use your head, your instincts, your guts, or something to get away before it's too late. 10. Don't go into a relationship just to get married and have kids. Imagining this will make you happy. Seek happiness now while you're still single so that you can easily gauge people who will not make you happy when you get married. Having a husband or wife and having kids will only increase your financial burden with more mouths to feed and more problems to solve and so on. Your date should eventually become your best friend first before they become your lover. This important advice cannot be overemphasized. How can you be in love with a person who isn't your best friend? And how can you have sex with a person you don't love? A healthy relationship is the result of a good dating experience and binding love. If you feel good about the person you're dating, most likely you're in love with them and the two of you are inseparable. Don't just leave it to chance. Work on it, defend it, and protect it. After all, it's something highly valuable to you. A sound dating experience leads to a sound relationship, and this is strictly between two people. It is a private affair, therefore the participation of other people is not only inappropriate but also absurd. Dating excludes your relatives, your parents, your friends, and your work colleagues. 11. Dating is the result of a flow of emotions, therefore should be handled with care like an egg. Know that the other person has feelings too, and feelings can be hurt. Relationships can be ruined by selfish actions that hurt the feelings of your partner. Work on promoting the actions that make the other person feel important and avoid the actions that put you apart. 12. Don't rush it. Emotions should never be rushed since they flow on their own. Emotions are like a river. They don't flow upstream. Sometimes love can happen at first sight. Sometimes it may delay. In dating, time is a good factor to consider. Remember, some people, they've never experienced love all their lives. Therefore, be wise and patient and let nature take its course. 13. Don't date indiscriminately. Avoid multiple relationships to the point you cannot even remember the name of the person you had sex with last night. A person who dates indiscriminately is like a serial killer. They've either failed in relationships as lovers or they're just devoid of feeling. 14. Don't rely on online dating. Life is becoming more difficult, therefore most people are turning into ravenous hyenas. Most of it is fake anyway, while much of it is an illusion. You can easily get entangled with a dog thinking it's a human. Do your due diligence and ask a ton of questions as possible just to annoy your prospect. If the prospect keeps coming at you, know that they're fake. They could even be 12-year-old kids who are out to play with your mind. If they get annoyed with your silly questions, know that they're real persons. In this case, be even more careful.